everybody, to the second video of transformations. So we have the same functions as before. F of x equals negative 3x minus 5, and f of x equals absolute value of x plus 3 minus 5. All right. So here we're going to talk about horizontal and vertical stretches and shrinks, and then also combining transformations. So multiple transformations in one. Sounds like fun. So I put this up here to let us know we're either going to be multiplying the x only by a number, or we're going to be multiplying the whole function by a number. Okay? And whenever we're multiplying just the x, usually just the x is going to be horizontal. Okay? So horizontal. And we'll see a lot of functions like that. And when you multiply the whole function, that's usually going to be vertical. Okay. And horizontal, remember, just like when you're translating it horizontally, you have to think opposite. Horizontal stretches and shrinks, it's also a little different. Okay, so let's get ready. So here it says a horizontal stretch by a factor of 4. So just like before, where horizontal, we had to think different. We have to think different here as well. So horizontal is not going to be, we're not going to be multiplying by just 4. Okay, you want to think of that as the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 4 is 1/4. So you just flip it, remember. So here, we're going to do g of x equals negative 3, and we're going to multiply just the x by this 1/4 times x minus 5. If you're wondering why I put the parentheses, it's because I want to show that we're multiplying just the x by that 1/4. Okay, so we have negative 3 times 1/4 is negative 3/4 x minus 5. And that's it. Now, vertical stretch by a factor of 4. Okay, so here, same thing. Before it was a horizontal stretch, this one's a vertical stretch. Vertical, it is what it sounds like. Okay, you just leave it as it is. So here we're going to be multiplying by 4. So g of x equals, and because it's vertical, we want to multiply the whole function. Okay, I'm going to write the whole function first, negative 3x minus 5, and then put it in parentheses because we're multiplying the whole thing by 4. So distribute. 4 times negative 3x is negative 12x. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. And that's it. All right. So horizontal, just the x. Vertical, the whole function. And also horizontal, you want to do the reciprocal. Things to keep in mind. So let's look at 3. This is where we're going to combine. So we're going to do a horizontal shrink by a factor of 1/2, followed by a translation 6 units down. All right. So since it's horizontal again, right, we have to do the reciprocal. Because it's horizontal, we have to do the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2. Oh, that's nice. So let's write down that function. And I know there's more, but focus on one thing at a time. All right, so negative 3, I'm going to leave some space. X minus 5, and it's horizontal, so we're going to be multiplying just the x by that 2, the reciprocal of 1/2. So 2 times x, so negative 3 times 2 is negative 6x minus 5. And we're not done, because it says followed by a translation 6 units down. followed by translation 6 units down. So we want to, down, remember, is, we're going to be adding and subtracting on the outside. So, and down is minus. So we're going to subtract 6 on the outside. So minus 6. So minus 6. And negative 6x minus 11. Ta-dum! That's it. Okay. So we did linear functions. Now let's look at transformations with absolute value functions. Same function as yesterday, or the previous video. And same thing as before. Horizontal is going to be multiplying just x. Vertical, multiplying the whole function. So horizontal shrink by a factor of 1/2. So we're going to multiply by, the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2. So let's do this. G of x equals absolute value x plus 3. Notice I'm leaving space. And horizontal is multiplying just the x, so times 2. Now you could put parentheses if you want, but that's all we can do. So that's it. 2x plus absolute value of 2x plus 3 minus 5. That was easy enough. Now let's look at vertical shrink by a factor of 1/2. So vertical, it is what it is. Okay, so we're going to multiply by 1/2. So here, write the original function. Original function, absolute value of x plus 3 minus 5, and we're multiplying the whole function by 1/2. We're going to get fractions. It's okay. So distribute that 1/2. Remember, the absolute value is like a force field. You can't multiply inside of it yet. Okay, just yet. So we have to multiply on the outside. 1/2 times absolute value of x plus 3, and 1/2 times negative 5. So minus 5/2. And if you're wondering how to do that, yeah, feel free to ask. Okay, and that's that. Ta-da! All right, so last one. We have a vertical stretch by a factor of 4, followed by translation 1 unit to the right. So let's do it. Original function first. G of x equals absolute value, leave some space because I didn't read the whole thing. I probably did, but I forgot what it said. Absolute value of x plus 3 minus 5. Alright, so vertical stretch, ooh, so that's multiplying the whole thing by 4. Okay, so multiply whole function. By 4. So we're going to multiply the whole thing by 4. Distribute that 4. And then we end up getting 4 times the absolute value of x plus 3 minus 5. Sorry, 4 times negative 5 is 20. And then followed by a translation 1 unit to the right. So to the right is on the inside, that's horizontal, right? So it's on the inside. And remember, for horizontal, you want to think opposite if it's on the inside, adding and subtracting on the inside. So usually right is plus, but we want to think opposite, so subtract 1 on the inside. So we have 4 times the absolute value of x minus 1 plus 3 minus 20. And that equals 4 times the absolute value of x. And then negative 1 plus 3 is positive 2. So plus 2 minus 20. And that's that. Ta-da!